You are listening to the CPA MOMS Podcast with Dawn Goldberg, CPA. This is episode number 147, Why You Feel Unfulfilled and What to Do About It. Welcome to the CPA MOMS Podcast, the podcast where busy female accountants who also happen to be moms like you get practical support and solutions you need to have it all, a successful career and a happy family. If you are looking for the solution to overwhelm and mom guilt, if you'd like to feel better and have more balance, as well as learn how to take back control of your life, you've come to the right place. Hey there, welcome back to this week's show. As always, I hope you had a great week. I will apologize in advance for the humming you might hear in the background. That is my AC working overtime. It is hot in New York. Before I get started, I just wanted to share that this past week, we at CPA Moms celebrated our franchisee, Shauna Breeden's first year. So exciting. She just finished her first year as a franchisee, and I asked her to share in her own words what her first year experience was like. And I just wanted to share it here with you. So what Shauna said is, I wasn't sure what to expect when I became a franchisee with CPA Moms, but my first year has far exceeded my hopes and expectations. Having the support that CPA Moms provides with the training, coaching, and community has been great. Also, having previously been on my own as a solo accounting firm, I appreciate the systems that are in place to assist with the navigation of sales, pricing, marketing, and relationship management that I didn't have on my own. I don't feel like I am an island by myself with no one to turn to when I have questions or when I need a sounding board. It's hard to believe that in less than a year's time, I was able to add a team member and leave my full-time employment to focus on my franchise 100%. I love the freedom this gives me to set my own schedule and work from anywhere that I want. My kids are in college now, and my husband and I would eventually like to split our time between our home in Kentucky and a house near the beach. Having the option of working from anywhere helps to make that dream become more of a reality. I don't want to make it sound like it's all easy. There has been a lot of hard work that has gone into this and a lot of learning, but it has been well worth the investment. I am looking forward to another year of growth as an entrepreneur and to more great things. Isn't that amazing? Oh, we just love Shauna. She has been such a pleasure to work with, and to see her growth in 1 year has literally blown her mind and has blown our minds. So if you want to find out more about becoming a CPA Moms franchisee, you can go to cpa-moms.com/franchise. All right, so let's get started with this week's episode. This is episode number 147, and the title is Why You Feel Unfulfilled and What to Do About It. So let me ask you, are you living the American dream with things like a comfortable home? You've got 2+ children, you've got a job, or maybe you have your own business, you've got friends, you've got family. Yet, ... you can't help feeling like there's something missing. Do you have things in your personal and professional life that others would love to have, yet you just don't feel as fulfilled as you think you should? So as the dust settles on one of the most challenging years for accountants and moms, it can leave a lot of us wondering what's next, right? What's going to make us happy again, or maybe even happy for the first time? With so many unwanted changes being thrust upon us, both professionally and personally, a lot of working moms are left wondering how to get back their feeling of purpose, and they might even feel directionless. Can you relate to that? Next thing you know, you're looking to switch jobs or careers. You're wondering whether you need to get divorced. You're snapping at your children more, or you're avoiding talking to anyone about how you're really feeling. The mental, physical, and emotional pressure on accountant moms, it was already hard. It was hard enough before the pandemic. Now, the weight of it all can just have you buckling at the knees. And with fewer lifelines available to help lighten the load with things like childcare, normal school options and accessibility to family and friends, among many, many other things, more and more working moms have had to hustle. They've had to try to balance and manage their careers and their families in unprecedented ways. I'm going to bet that it's an understatement to say that it's probably taken quite a toll on you. While the subject of self-care was important to incorporate into the busy schedule of accountant moms pre-pandemic, I'm also going to bet that that was probably the first thing to be let go of while trying to juggle all the changes and the course corrections you've needed to make over the past year. Eating right, exercising, getting enough rest, taking time for yourself. Those have all probably become very low on your list of priorities, or they're not even on the list. I'm sure you can probably tell me things that you're grateful for, like maybe you're grateful for your health, the fact that you have money coming in and that your children are safe and sound. But I'm also going to guess that you might be experiencing a sense of numbness, like you just got caught in a tsunami. The waters have died down. Everyone is safe. Or maybe you lost people that you cared about and you just can't get your bearings. On the one hand, you might feel bored or unsatisfied with things in your life, but on the other hand, you also feel guilty for feeling unfulfilled, as if you weathered the storm, so you should be happy. This sense of guilt can make you feel ashamed, and maybe it has you hiding the fact that you might feel unfulfilled as an accountant, as a mother, as a spouse, or even just as a woman. Or maybe you look at what others have and you compare your situation to theirs, feeling unfulfilled due to this sense of compare and then despair. Things like their career choices, their finances, or even their relationships have you looking at yours and feeling like something's wrong. So if any of this resonates with you, you are not alone. I speak to and I coach so many accountant moms who have done their best during these trying times, but now that there seems to be some light at the end of the tunnel, they're left feeling dissatisfied. They're left feeling unhappy or disillusioned, and understandably not knowing what to do about it. The good news is that I see you, I hear you, and I can help you. If you are feeling unfulfilled, whether it's professionally or personally, I'm going to support and encourage you so that you don't have to do this alone. So this week I'm going to discuss why you actually feel unfulfilled and then what to do about it. So let's start with why you feel unfulfilled. For a lot of us accountants and moms, we tend to believe that our success, our achievements, or reaching certain life milestones will make us happy and fulfilled. And from my experience and the experience of many of the accountant moms that I come in contact with, the typical trajectory for an accountant mom is something like we go to college. Next, we take on the challenge of the CPA exam and feel just this fleeting sense of fulfillment once it's passed. Next, we get a job and we feel relief when we check that box. Then at some point we decide to get married, or we find someone to have a long-term relationship with. Then we decide to have a family. That's when we start trying to have work-life balance. Maybe we go on vacation once or twice a year. Again, having a fleeting sense of fulfillment. Then we try to be good spouses. We try to be good mothers, good friends. Yet, we wake up one day feeling unfulfilled and don't know why. So can you relate to some or maybe all of this, where you've checked a lot of the boxes of what society says should make you feel fulfilled as a woman and a mother? You're somewhat living the American dream. You've worked hard for what you have. You've shown strength and resilience during these challenging times. Yet, a lot of the accountant moms I speak to and I coach say that they're afraid to admit to themselves and out loud that even with everything they have, they honestly don't feel fulfilled, that there seems to be something missing. They've checked off various boxes in their careers or in their personal lives, but they feel like something is blocking them and that something is getting in their way. I also want you to consider the fact that for thousands of years, a woman's job was taking care of the home, having children, and nurturing her family. That message and the skills to do those jobs was passed down from generation to generation. However, now working moms are trying to balance it all, but are still getting messages that the old way of life should be fulfilling enough. As a working mom, we often get the message like, what's wrong with you with just staying home and raising children? Why do you also need to have a career as well? Why isn't being a mom enough? And then we wonder why we feel guilty for not feeling fulfilled with the sole role of mother and nurturer, for wanting to work outside the home, use our gifts and talents in other ways, use our intelligence, and contribute financially to our families. So the first thing I want you to know is that it's not your fault if you feel unfulfilled. And you shouldn't be ashamed to admit it, no matter what your life situation is, professionally or personally. And secondly, I want you to know that as a high achieving woman, you've most likely got the misconception that external things cause how you feel, or that your actions cause how you feel. But here's the thing, you actually have it backwards. The truth is that how you feel is never caused by all the boxes that you've checked off, especially the ones that society tells you should equal a sense of fulfillment. How you feel is only ever caused by your thoughts. So basically, your career, your success, your degree of work-life balance, where you live, who you live with, the state of the world, what you do or don't do, none of it has ever or can ever create whether you feel fulfilled or not. I know this can be challenging to hear because we all have this kind of like Goldilocks and the Three Bears type of view of our lives, where if we could just find the right place to work, the right partner, or the right weight, we'd feel so much better and be able to live our best lives. But have you ever noticed those people that seem to, quote unquote, have it all, yet they still aren't happy? The ones who overwork, they overspend, or they overindulge in many other things, trying to feel fulfilled. And that's because the reason why anyone feels unfulfilled is because you have a human brain that has habits of thoughts. Just like you don't have to think really hard about how to brush your teeth or which hand you use to write, your brain really likes having habits of thoughts, because with those habits, it expends so much less energy and saves its energy for more complicated accounting things like PPP loans and employee retention credits and all the things that accountants need to know. The simplest way to explain it is that throughout your life, you've been laying down tracks in your brain with your thoughts, just like train tracks, making it easier and more efficient to think certain things. So if you've had repetitive thoughts like, I'm not smart enough, or I'm not a good enough mother, wife, accountant. You've had thought like, this isn't fair, or I should be happier. You've been laying down tracks with those repetitive thoughts, making it easier and easier for your brain to easily ride on that track. And when this happens, it doesn't matter whether you get a promotion, whether you get a glowing review, your spouse tells you that you're completely amazing, or your kids tell you that they love you. If the tracks in your brain say some version of I'm not good enough or this should be different, then no amount of things outside of you will make you feel any differently. So let me give you an example. I've talked to many accountant moms who believed that things like getting a higher education, obtaining their CPA designation, getting married, having children, having a nice house, or being able to wear a certain pair of jeans again that they wore in high school, that those things would eventually make them feel happy and fulfilled. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way, but no one ever told us. So we wind up overworking, jumping through hoops to get other people's approval, caring way too much about what other people think, and slipping into people pleaser mode too often. We burn ourselves out in the chase for fulfillment, never realizing that none of what we're chasing actually creates lasting fulfillment. So what I really want you to get from this episode is that the real reason you feel unfulfilled is because you have gotten a lot of mixed messages over the years. And most importantly, you have an unmanaged mind. While your brain is doing what it's supposed to do, which is to follow the tracks that you've laid down, it doesn't question how those tracks make you feel or whether the destination those tracks will take you to is in your best interest. There's absolutely nothing wrong with checking off certain professional and personal boxes as your life unfolds, but just don't buy into the belief that those checked boxes hold the key to your happiness or your fulfillment. The best news that I can give you is that those life milestones and those checked boxes are not responsible for how you feel. You are. All right, so now I'm going to talk about what to do about feeling unfulfilled. One of the most liberating and life-changing things that I can help you to learn is that you are 100% in control of how you feel. But we're never taught how to create your feelings on purpose. Between our education, society, advertising, social media, we've all been mistakenly taught to believe that our fulfillment is based on external things like the job, the house, and the kids. And for a lot of accountant moms I talk to, with the weight of this message that we get, often at a very young age, we're embarrassed about the fact that we don't feel fulfilled with a career or with different areas of our lives. These women tend to keep how they currently feel a secret, either chasing after something or blaming various situations for how they currently feel. The key thing to do when you're feeling unfulfilled is to understand your unique brain better so that you can get clear about the thoughts that are causing the feeling of unfulfilled. Remember, it's never the circumstances that are causing your feelings. It's only ever your thoughts about your circumstances that are creating your feelings. This is really important because when you learn how to understand your brain, the tracks that you've laid down over the years and years of education and society's messages about what should make you feel fulfilled and what you really think about the boxes you have and haven't checked, that's when you'll be able to get more control over how you feel. You'll understand why trying positive thinking or trying to make changes in your work or life situation just hasn't worked. This is also why, for example, trying to practice a positive thought like, I love my job, doesn't help when you've been laying down tracks of, I hate my job. The well-worn tracks you've laid down are what's believable to your brain. And what's believable will always give your brain a little reward when you think that thought. Just like rats in a lab can quickly be programmed to push a lever for cocaine-laced water because of the reward it gives their brains, your reward-seeking human brain likes familiarity. It likes habits of thoughts. So habits of thoughts just give you a little reward each time you push the lever on a practice thought. And this is really important to know because when you try to practice thinking and believing something that is too far from what you currently believe, you won't get any relief from that new thought. Your brain just can't make the huge leap from I hate my job to I love my job because it's not believable based on the tracks that you've laid down. So in order to deal with feeling unfulfilled, you have to start practicing neutrality. And what that means, neutrality means making small shifts in the way you think about the circumstances that you believe are making you feel unfulfilled. Allowing those small shifts to start laying down some new tracks. So let me give an example. Instead of repetitively thinking, I hate my job, you would begin to catch yourself thinking that thought, and you would choose to think a more neutral thought, like, I have a job instead. So instead of I hate my job, you would choose I have a job. The power of neutrality is that just that little shift can give your reward-seeking brain the relief it is seeking, making it easier to practice that new thought more consistently. If you want to feel more fulfilled, you have to get to a place of neutrality first. And thankfully, that isn't as difficult as it might seem because of one very important fact. Everything in your life is already neutral. Every person, every place, everything in your life is completely neutral until you have a thought about it. You think your brain just observes reality, that it interprets it objectively for you and tells you the information, but that's not at all what's happening. Your brain is actually following the tracks you've laid without even realizing it. Your human brain assigns meaning to everything based on your repetitive thoughts and beliefs. Therefore, things like your job, your relationships, your finances, etc., they aren't objectively good or bad. You make things, quote unquote, good or bad in your experience by what you choose to think about them. And most of the time, you're not aware of what you're choosing to think. So when it comes to fulfillment, most accountants are focused on taking action to feel more fulfilled, like setting career and financial goals and hustling to get some end result that they believe will be the answer to fulfillment. They go after another professional designation. They take more and more CPE courses. They jump jobs. They grasp for different puzzle pieces that will make them feel fulfilled, either professionally or personally. But here's the most important thing that I have learned and that I teach my coaching clients. Whatever we think we want is because of how we think we'll feel when we get it. Therefore, the best part of learning how to manage your mind is that that feeling you want is available to you now. Happiness, peace, fulfillment, all available now without one thing needing to change. So hopefully now you can see that no matter what job or boss, relationship, or body size you have, if you haven't laid down new tracks in your brain or changed the way you think about things, it's not going to matter. So if you are feeling unfulfilled and don't know what to do about it, you need to learn how to manage your mind. So in summary, I speak to and coach so many accountant moms who have done their best during these trying times, but now that there seems to be some light at the end of the tunnel, they're left feeling dissatisfied, unhappy, or disillusioned, and understandably not knowing what to do about it. The first thing I want you to know is that it's not your fault if you feel unfulfilled, and you shouldn't be ashamed to admit it, no matter what your life situation is, professionally or personally. Secondly, as a high-achieving woman, you've most likely got the misconception that external things cause how you feel, or that your actions cause how you feel. But here's the thing, you actually have it backwards. And finally, when it comes to fulfillment, most accountants are focused on taking actions to feel more fulfilled, like setting career and financial goals and hustling to get some end result that they believe will be the answer to fulfillment. Okay, there you have it. That was episode number 147, Why You Feel Unfulfilled and What to Do About It. I think that this is a really important topic, especially since we really did, it feels like we survived a crazy tsunami. And like I shared, like the waters have died down. We're like trying to figure out and get our bearings. And now what? We should be grateful for whatever we have. And yet we're ashamed to say that we feel unfulfilled. We compare ourselves to others, or we feel like something's lacking. And so I really want you to understand that the reason that you feel unfulfilled is completely normal. You have a human brain. It's what brains do. But that there is a way to feel fulfilled and to not be caught in that trap of feeling unfulfilled and then feeling ashamed for it, or chasing after those continuing education, extra designations. I mean, as accountants, we tend to like overconsume knowledge, but there's no need to do that. When you learn how to manage your mind, as I've said many times, you can manage everything else, especially how you feel, and you can feel fulfilled no matter what. All right. I hope this was helpful. If you know anybody that could use a little boost, a little information, please share this episode with them. And I'll talk to you guys next week. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you like what you heard, be sure to click subscribe on your podcast app so you never miss an episode. At CPA Moms, we pride ourselves on being the e-harmony of the accounting world, making it possible for business owners to have their accounting needs met by amazing CPAs that are moms just like you. Whether you are an accountant interested in growing your own solo mompreneur business, or perhaps you are looking for flexibility to work from home, or maybe you are looking to grow your current firm or team, CPA Moms has what you are looking for. Check us out at cpa-moms.com.